Hi, I'm Matej Lukács, the developer of The Guiding Spirit. For those unaware, The Guiding Spirit is an upcoming deeply personal fantasy RPG where your heroes think for themselves. It is a story-rich interpersonality simulator which blends narrative-heavy RPG elements with the unpredictability of tabletop storytelling and player-driven chaos. In this video I would like to talk about the video games that inspired me to become a game developer and make this game. We've come a long way in the world of video games in the last 40 years, and there are a lot of great games out there which I won't mention in this video because then we could sit here all day. But I do want to highlight some of those that helped me the most on my journey to create The Guiding Spirit. I will pair them with the core ideas and game components of The Guiding Spirit so you can see exactly how they influence my design. Let's get started! The first one on the list is Baldur's Gate 2: Shadows of Amn. Baldur's Gate 2 is a role-playing video game developed by BioWare set in the Forgotten Realms Dungeons & Dragons campaign setting. It's a sequel to 1998's Baldur's Gate, and it's one of those titles from the golden age of classic isometric role-playing games. In this game, the player can control a party of up to 6 characters, one of whom is the protagonist. The player may recruit certain non-playable characters to travel with them, though only 5 may do so at a time. Now the interesting thing is that the initial ideas of these characters and the idea of the world took shape during sessions of Dungeons & Dragons. And I can relate to that. I grew up in the golden age of tabletop role-playing. Countless hours of my lifetime went towards playing tabletop RPGs with my friends. When I wasn't playing, I was building worlds, I was designing my own rule sets. Back at the time, I didn't know anything about programming or game design, but if I ever make a video game, I thought, it will try to capture that special tabletop RPG feeling. Okay, let's go back to these characters, the companions of the Baldur's Gate games. The companions in Baldur's Gate can guide your story if you want. In this game, you might have a different experience going to a certain location on the map if you bring a certain companion along with you. For example, they might point you in the direction of a secret entrance of that location. They might have a conversation with some of the NPCs in there. So basically they can guide your story. And on top of that, their personal stories are woven into the main mission. They don't feel detached from your adventure. I think up to this day Baldur's Gate 2 has the best interactions between party members. Anywhere you go, your party members will often converse with you or one another, and at times they interject into your conversations with other NPCs. They either truly become your friend or even lover during the course of the adventure, or they leave your party because they don't agree with your decisions. One of the core mechanics of the Spirit was influenced by how the Baldur's Gate games handle the relationships between the party members. In the Spirit, party members can love, hate, betray each other and more. They might get greedy, jealous, their reaction might surprise you, just like in the Baldur's Gate games. I need to take a small detour and speak about the fighting fantasy books before I move on to the next game. The fighting fantasy books are single-player role-playing game books created by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. The first volume of the series was published in the early 80s. These books have a choose-your-own-adventure style storytelling, meaning their text doesn't progress in a linear fashion, but rather is divided into a series of numbered sections. After reading a section, the reader would be invited to make a decision about how the story should progress. Each decision would be associated with a section number, which the reader would then subsequently read. These entries would continue the story into a series of branching narratives that would lead on to further adventures or the unfortunate death of the player character. I obviously did read a lot of these books as a kid, and they totally blew my mind. As I was playing, I was taking notes, I was drawing maps of my adventures, and I was second-guessing every decision I made. And that was a lot of fun. Now, the Sorcery series is originally a 4-part gamebook saga, part of the fighting fantasy series I talked about, and it was adapted to a video game series by Inkle from 2013, I think, to 2016. John Ingold, co-founder of Inkle, has a super interesting GDC talk on YouTube where he is explaining how they did it. He talks about the core differences between authored branching narrative and open world games. They implemented this circular narrative loop in Sorcery too, and they even went beyond that in Sorcery 3 and 4. It's a very interesting video, so check it out. What I did learn from Inkle's design is that how you can make a textbook game where the world feels alive and reactive. How to make the adventure personal to the player and to make sure characters and locations are detailed, individual, rather than just being generic content. When I played the first Pillars of Eternity game, I loved the initial stretch of the game. I fell in love with the world's lore and deep history. And I'm also a fan of the idea about class abilities not being associated with attributes. Josh Sawyer, who was the game director of Pillars of Eternity 2, explains this very well in a GDC talk. If you play earlier D&D editions and if you don't max a certain stat or put a decent value to it at least, your character will be bad essentially, it won't be viable. And what I really liked is that they deviated from that when they were designing the Pillars rule system. To give you an example, in the Pillars series, intellect is not a must-have stat for a wizard. Instead, intellect affects duration and area of effect. Therefore, picking a wizard class and not putting points into the intellect stat won't penalize the player that much. The whole idea is that there are no bad builds, essentially. You can still have a viable wizard even if you didn't put any points into intellect. You got a cool concept? Go for it. To me, the most interesting characters in movies, books or video games are the ones with conflicting features. Do a clumsy rogue, a genius, barbarian or an idiot wizard, lay back and see what happens. In the spirit, you will definitely have challenges early on if you pick contradictory traits. But if you stick with that character, you might be rewarded for it. Because each character has character development in the guiding spirit, they can learn from their mistakes. And if they are able to overcome their challenges, maybe with the help of you, the guiding spirit, they will be rewarded with multiple perspectives, experience, and wisdom. Divinity Original Sin 2. Larian grabbed my attention in 2012 when I saw a video of them called Inside Look at the New Divinity. I think they had a very good concept for the first Divinity game and they showed some early game footage in that video. I got interested, I remember, and I decided to follow their YouTube channel, and from there on I was a Larian fan basically. In Original Sin 2, when you create a custom character, you are able to pick your starting background text, which will open up extra dialogue options at certain points in the game. Some of these are soldier, outlaw, scholar, noble, and there are even hidden tags which you can unlock throughout the game. This I found to be a very cool concept, because if you wish to roleplay a particular story archetype, these tags will let you do that. It adds depth to the characters and makes them relatable, personal. So it's not a surprise that I implemented a personality trait system in the spirit. There are over 100 personality traits in the game, and when you combine these to other type of traits like origin story or core memory, aspiration, capability traits, you can get a unique character which feels very personal to you. In addition to the tag system, what the Divinity Original Sin games taught me is how fun it can be to think outside of the box when I design tactical battles. The spirit encourages experimentation when it comes to think about how you can craft your character to be an efficient combatant. You can craft characters who shine the most when everything is lost. You can craft tactical thinking characters who will always try to think how they can get advantage before rushing into battle. And you can also create and roleplay a pacifist character who opposes violence. Last but not least, Fallout 2. Also known as Fallout 2, a post-nuclear role-playing game. It's a 1998 RPG developed by Black Eye Studios, a sequel to the original Fallout, which is also brilliant, by the way. The original creator of the Fallout series and its setting is Tim Kaine, and he has a superb YouTube channel where he shares his thoughts about game development from time to time. It's very cool, I definitely recommend you to check it out. Fallout 2 in general is a fantastic game. The characters you meet are interesting, sometimes the side quests they give you lead you on some incredible little narrative journeys. But what I remember the most is my second playthrough. On my second playthrough I built a low intelligence character. And I was fascinated by how much the game reacted to that, how much the game recognized that. It's kind of a hardcore run because you are getting no skill points per level, and also not everyone is going to talk to you. You know why? It essentially makes you consider your build a whole lot more, but there are a lot of unique dialogue lines you won't experience otherwise. When I was designing the challenging traits of the spirit, I had Fallout 2 in mind. These traits should completely change your experience and the way NPCs react to you. For example, if you are not the sharpest tool in the shed, that should be reflected in every dialogue line, right? NPCs should notice and reflect on that from time to time. Even party members, especially party members. Or using another example, if you for some reason cannot speak, the game should adapt to that. The story should adapt. You still should be able to complete your adventure, it might be just a little more difficult. I think stories work the best when their heroes feel human in that they are often flawed and fail miserably. In the spirit, all of your heroes have challenges, but these can be overcome. You might want to let certain failed situations play out because all those moments will add to the character's personal development. Sometimes it might be worth to let them stumble a bit, so they can get back on their feet stronger. And that's gonna be it for this video. I certainly hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. If you are a hardcore CRPG veteran, a narrative adventure fan, or just someone who loves watching deeply flawed heroes try to survive your bad decisions, please wishlist the Guiding Spirit. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I would like to see your thoughts in the comment section. If you are making a game, let me know where you draw your inspiration from, what keeps you going. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.